developing countries, where about maybe 50 to 60% of the people are engaged in agriculture. They are dependent for their livelihood on agriculture, and they contribute a lot in the national economies. But definitely, you know that you will never get weather according to what you want. Sometimes, naturally, weather is, as I say, it's not static, it is dynamic, it keeps on changing. Sometimes rain will come a little early, sometimes it will come late, sometimes temperature will be high, sometimes temperature will be low, but and sometimes it will be extreme also. Even records will be broken, which we know it as climate change. Abnormality will also be there. But in spite of all that, you will see that, I don't know about other countries, but India, in spite of all this global warming and climate change and our agriculture being affected by these extreme events, our agriculture production is continuously increasing. That's a fantastic thing. This is the point to be noted. In spite of all those extreme weather events, sometimes high temperatures, long dry spells, hailstorms, you name the thing, extreme rainfall, flooding, all these things, pests and diseases, but still our agriculture production is continuously increasing. And it's not because of increase in area, agriculture area. It is because of better weather forecast and better agro advisory services. Dr. Chattopadhyay is the leading agrometeorologist of India. He has worked for a long time in our Agromet division at Pune and was involved in the operational agro advisory services. They are so good that we could reach combined. I was also part of that. And of course, I was looking mainly the weather forecasting side. But for the northern India, I was looking at advice. So together, we could reach out to something like 3 to 4 crores of people. And they were getting these kinds of agro advisories over their phone, through WhatsApp groups, through fax, through website, you name the thing. We were disseminating through radio, television, newspaper. We were disseminating this together, and we could, because of that, and people acting on those things, we could prevent the losses. And that is how it is working. So this is all about agro advisory. Now come to the region wise, if you talk about. And if I say, you know about the different kinds of forecasts. Of course, first I should tell you that for weather forecast for few hours in advance, we call it nowcast. And if it is for about 48 hours, we call it short range weather forecast. And if the weather forecast is for the next, say, 5 to 10 days, we call it medium range weather forecast. And if it is up 10 days to more than 1 month, that means for 4 weeks in advance, we call it extended range weather forecast. And for the entire season, one season in advance, we call it seasonal forecast or long range weather forecast. Like monsoon season forecast, we give in somewhere in April, first forecast for the June, July, August, September. So that we call it long range weather forecast. So all these kinds of were very important for agriculture. You remember, I don't know about other countries, in India, about say 20, 30 years back, we used to give mainly range weather for 48 hours. Farmer said, no, it's not enough. By the time you give forecast and disseminate it through All India Radio, 1 day is gone. So we are left with 1 day, how we will take the action? So they demanded that we should duration, lead time of the weather forecast should be increased. So then our National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast was established, and along with IMD, together, and our agriculture universities, our Krishi Vigyan, all the setup, we have an excellent setup of DAMUs and AMFUs, agromet field units. We started issuing 5-day weather forecasts twice in a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. And this was very popular, and it was a sort of a game changer, I should say. It started helping the farmers, and farmers found it very useful. But then they again said 5 days also not enough, give us more. So then we started with the extended range weather forecast. Although first 2 weeks it's fine, next 2 weeks accuracy is not high, but we are trying more. Earlier we were giving the forecast on a state level, which was a very big area where you have sea level to 2000 meters or 3000 meters altitude. So you can't have uniform weather forecast for this area. So we started from state to district level, and from district to further down block level. So, and future plan is now village level, which again, it has limitations of the model where resolution, we need to have better, more higher resolution models. So process is going on. We are trying to do all that. A lot of progress has been made. So this is what we do. And again, seasonal weather forecast or long range forecast, accuracy is, I mean, we have to take with a pinch of salt, but then it is good for the planners, not for the common masses. With this background and a good background of a number of good agrometeorologists we had in India Met Department, we could make it one of the best weather agro advisory services, I should say, in Asia as well as in the world. I must say that. Okay, now come to specific advisories. So major crops, if I see in our region, entire region, right from Afghanistan to India to Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, wheat, paddy, maize, potato, onion. These are some of the things which I feel are important of this region. There could be many other also. Then you have also an apple crop and some nuts in Afghanistan and pomegranate there. But apple is again a crop of Himachal, maybe in Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan. These are the regions, especially they have this thing. And in future, I think apple will go to lower altitude in Bangladesh and Myanmar and other region also. It will go Sri Lanka also in the future. And then in addition to that, potato is there. Again, potato is again a major crop in some of the regions. So now it comes that first thing very good is that if you want to issue a good agro advisory, remember there are two kinds of advice. One is that your package and practices. Just you say irrigate, you have to fertilizer, you have to apply irrigation, weeding. No, that we are not talking about those kind of advice. We are talking weather-based agro advisories. What is the kind of weather going to happen in the next 5 days? If it is indicating rain, what one should do it. So it is weather-based. Remember this. Now let us start with the apple crop. Apple is again a crop where Nepal, Bhutan, and Afghanistan, India, they have it. So it has certain critical weather needs. And fruit setting takes place somewhere in April and August. And this crop requires sufficient moisture is required. If there is a dry spell during this period of fruit setting, like I said, told you April to August, then this can reduce this fruit size. At the same time, the soil should be, good, well-drained soil. There should not be any waterlogging. And heavy rain also happens sometimes. So if it happens, then if it is a waterlogging, then it will affect. So we have to tell, if the heavy rain is going to come, then you have to tell the farmers, look, you have an apple fields, ensure that it is well drained and make measures so that extra water flows. So make efforts for the drainage. Similarly, moisture, you can either have a crop, cover crop down below, some leguminous crop, or you can have mulch so that soil moisture is this thing. So accordingly, you have to tell them. Remember, and if there is a waterlogging, then you can have the problem of root rot. And if you have rising temperature and intermittent rain, which is like happening right now in the March, especially in the northern part of the Himalayas where apple grow, and then Nepal, Bhutan, they are getting rains because of western disturbances and temperature also high. So this is a time when the apple scab can come. So we are telling the farmers, and even aphids and mites also come. Even mustard crop is there. There also aphids attack increases when the cloudiness increases. Of course, but it rains comes, aphids are washed away. But then we tell the farmers, look, the temperatures are rising and you have intermittent rains, enough moisture, scab can come. But we do not advise pesticide spray immediately. We tell them, look, you have to monitor your crop. Maybe you have isolated some symptoms of scab somewhere. Just remove those leaves or those branches and dig a hole in the ground and cover it with the soil. That's the only thing. You need not spray it. So as long as the infection is below economic threshold, you need not spray. Otherwise, if earlier what was happening, people when they were the weather-based agro advisors were not there, people were just blindly spraying for 15 times in the entire cycle. And what that led to is destruction of the honeybees, which is the main pollinator of apple. So remember this thing. Best use of weather-based agro is when to spray, how much to spray, and when not to spray. So these are very important issues. With these kind of things, I think we have done a lot of things, and we are able to do better management, better of pest and diseases. At the same time, of course, sanitation is very important in the orchard. That is again taken part of the advisories. Yeah, spray with botanical based pesticides. Somebody said that's a very good. Yes, Mr. Upadhyay had said that. And we also we are moving towards organic. Especially, I don't know, Sri Lanka had a very bad experience of organic farming because they went all of a sudden. So you have to go in slowly. Our Sikkim state in Northeast is done wonderfully good. Uttarakhand is making efforts. So we have to have neem-based pesticides. So we don't have to go for the kind of current pesticides which are very dangerous. So we have to avoid as far as possible and only use them when you don't have any other option. Yes. And then another issue which our apple crop faces is hailstorm. Naturally, hail is, the event, it happens very fast. If you have a radar, satellite picture, and a valley-based model, you can capture it, but then giving warning you will be left with hardly 15 to 20 minutes. But yes, if you can do that to a particular area where thunderstorm going to hit and people are ready with their hail nets, you can cover the trees with the hail nets. That is the only solution. Otherwise, if you don't have hail nets, then it's very difficult. Some people have also tried to use anti-hail guns, but that's not successful because unless until you have a dedicated radar and you don't know which cloud to hit, you will be just firing and wasting money. So I don't agree with that kind of thing. So then I think this is a apple crop, and next major crop is wheat. And here again, wheat is a very important crop. And as you know, each crop has certain critical stages. And especially in the case of wheat, when it is 20 to 25 days old, it has one of the most important critical stage known as crown root initiation. So that is a time when if the crop doesn't get enough, soil doesn't have enough moisture or crop doesn't get any rain or anything, then and you don't irrigate, then the agriculture yield can come down by 20 to 25%. So you can imagine the importance of this particular critical stage of wheat, that is crown root initiation. So what we do is we tell the farmers, look, your crop is 20 to 25 days, you need to irrigate, but wait, the western disturbance is approaching and it will give you rain. So till that, postpone your irrigation. And if it comes, you can imagine how much water you save, how much money you save. I think the cost of irrigating 1 hectare is something like 500 rupees. And especially in the northern India, I was giving weather forecast, you have lakhs and lakhs of irrigated area. If I save one irrigation, multiplied by 500, it's 1,000 crores of rupee is saved in just good weather forecast. Can imagine, I have earned all my salary of my staff, everything with simply one forecast, much more than that. So you can imagine the importance of accurate weather forecast, and based on this accurate weather and timely and relevant actionable weather-based advices. Similarly, as I told, there are 4 or 5 critical stages in wheat. One or two irrigations you get it from the nature in the form of rainfall, but one irrigation, especially people who are practiced like in Afghanistan and certain mountain regions, they don't have good irrigation facilities. They do rain-fed agriculture or dry land agriculture. So, but I'll tell you, if you are doing agriculture in a mountain region where rainfall is already less because it's a semi-arid area, then you're not doing justice. It's not a good practice. You should go for horticulture. But even if you're doing, you should at least have 1 or 2 life-saving irrigation through water harvesting or through ponds, whatever way you must have. Because whenever there is a long dry spell, this saved water will help you out. That is why we say good weather code and bad weather code. Good weather code is when it is raining, collect water, harvest it properly, but not blindly in mountains. Because mountains, if you store lots of water and it drains down, it can even lead to landslide. So it should be done properly. And once you have saved the water, you can use it when there is a long dry spell. So here it's also very important. Go for those crops, pulses, and like even you have uh, uh, ragi, what we call it, uh, I think Elysium coracana finger millet, which is it's a drought resistant crop. It can withstand 2 to 3 weeks of dry spells. So remember, we have to go for those traditional crops which are drought resistant. This becomes important. So this is about wheat. So when to irrigate, how much to irrigate, when to apply fertilizer, not to apply fertilizer, all this is possible through your agro advisories. And we have done that very successfully. Similarly, paddy, paddy is again a crop which requires lots of water. And many times we see whenever a cyclone hits Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, those coastal areas, or even Myanmar must be also getting affected. So your paddy crops get affected. But I know I've read somewhere that Bangladesh used to have a particular variety of paddy. I am forgetting its name. Chattopadhyay, if you know, please let me know. This particular variety, even if it is totally submerged in water, it survives. So we have to protect those kind of, conserve those kind of varieties which survive even the total submergence and plant those things. Like we need drought resistant, pest resistant crops. Similarly, we need flood resistant varieties which are available. So we need to look for and conserve those. But luckily, what has happened with the onslaught of this hybrids and all that, we have forgotten our traditional crops. So those traditional crops need to be I mean, preserved, collected, and Bangladesh has some of those varieties. So I think, and then we can use those varieties, their gene pool, to do hybridization through plant breeding, take this trait into other things so that you have high yielding as well as flood resistant trait into those varieties. So paddy, but otherwise, if you don't have those flood resistant crops, definitely there will be problem. If it be it coconut crop or a banana especially, they will be affected whenever a cyclone comes. You can move the people away, but you can't do anything with the crop. So only possible way is that to make things resilient, and you have to go climate smart. That means you have better agro advisories, you have varieties which are adaptable, which can withstand, or whether it's drought, strong dry spell, or or maybe flooding. So this is very important. And then you also have maize crop. For maize, I think again, water management is very important. Maize cannot withstand high rainfall or water logging, so it has to be well drained soil. Maize also has problems of armyworm, fall armyworm. So that is again problem. So through your temperature, humidity, rainfall monitoring, you can monitor when the pest is going to come, because we know about disease triangle: host, pest, and environment. We know host, we know pest, we know what particular critical stage the pest comes, and we are monitoring the weather. So we tell the farmers, please start monitoring, because they're ideal conditions for your disease, armyworm to come. So if you spot it, remove those plants. No need to spray immediately. Who knows, in future the weather might become favorable for the crop but unfavorable for the pest. Or who knows, it is the other way. It is favorable for the pest and unfavorable for the crop. Then infection will increase, and if it's beyond your economic threshold, then you can go for spray, and then we will tell when is the best suitable time for giving this forecast, and we have been able to do it. Then you also have this potato crop. Potato is a very important crop. I think Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, these countries all have potato crops. It's a very staple crop. And one big issue with this crop is that whenever you have high temperature, I mean temperatures around 25, 30 degrees, warm temperatures, and humidity of more than 95% continuously for more than 48 hours, that is a time when late blight of potato can happen. Once it comes and you have not taken care, then it can spoil your entire crop. But with better, again, monitoring of weather conditions and accurate weather forecasting and advisories, we can tell the farmers, look, there is chances of this attack. Monitor it. If you see the symptoms, remove those leaves and branches, put them down in the soil. No need to spray, but yes, if it increases, then undertake spray. So with that, we have been able to prevent the epidemic of late blight of potato and good management. In addition to that, we have another very important crop of in India, Nepal and Bhutan. I don't know about Myanmar. We have large cardamom. It's a major, especially in Nepal and Bhutan, it's a major livelihood and it gives lots of money to the people. And this particular crop also, it is, I mean, it gives you lots of money. It's a sort of cash crop. And it requires special kind of microclimate where shade is required. 50 to 60% shade is required, and special trees are there. Alnus nepalensis, name is also Alnus nepalensis, and these trees are grown in the fields of where large cardamom is grown, and it requires temperatures between, I think, 10 to 30 degrees or even 7 to 30 degrees, and humidity, high humidity. And generally where the rainfall is around 3000 millimeters annual rainfall, this kind of crop is taken. And definitely, if enough moisture is there, it gives a good crop. Enough shade is required. But if moisture is less, rainfall is less, then there's an issue and it can affect your crop. So again, we can reduce this climate risk through better climate resilient practices. And again, it also need hail net. Sometimes hail also affects this particular crop. So this is, I think, most of the crops I have tried to cover. And in addition to that, you have the problem of dust storms in Afghanistan. Again, even India also. So naturally, Afghanistan has most things. If there is more of dust storms and lots of sand is blown, so sand blasting can, can kill the plants and break the branches, or the dust storm dumps so much of dust on the plants that it affects their photosynthesis. So that's again an issue. And then flash flood is a big issue in, I think, Afghanistan and even the mountain regions where sudden rain comes, and that's a big issue, and many the entire fields are taken away. But then it's very difficult to handle those kind of situation. You have high temperatures. Now we are moving to summer season, so you will have the problem of high temperatures. And if the temperatures are more than 4 to 5 degrees above normal or appreciably above normal, it can affect the wheat crop, which is now at the maturity stage. Next another 10 days or so, or maybe 5 days, one in a week, we will start harvesting the crop. But luckily, this time, what has happened, there was one after another, western distance is coming, there were rains. Only, I mean, maybe once or twice there was some slight hailstorm and maybe strong winds, otherwise good. So, but if these things are not there, then the high temperatures will shrink the grain size, and production comes down. So luckily it's good, and I hope there's a western disturbance going to affect on 4th, again in the northern western India, and maybe later on to the northeast India, Nepal, etc., that region also. And once it goes, I hope it will be good for the wheat crop. So I think there are a lot of things to be discussed, and I have mentioned most of the things. Myanmar also, if we discuss, they have cyclone, intense rainfall, flooding, drought, heat waves, sea level rise, salinity. These are some of the issues. But then again, the same kind of practice can help. So finally, I will say is that if you want to, you will have extreme weather events, but if you have a better prediction, you can reduce losses. So, but in addition to that, what we need is cropping pattern should be according to your agro climate. It should not be there. You have a less rainfall and you are cultivating sugarcane and paddy. That's not a good agro practice. Then you should have drought, flood, and disease-resistant varieties. Try to get them distributed to the farmers. So naturally, it's a good thing for adaptation point of view. Then have excellent weather forecast and weather-based agro advisories. And in spite of that, if your crop gets affected, have crop insurance so that whatever losses are there, people get their money back. So this in all will make our agriculture climate smart, and definitely we have to reduce our carbon, so we have to go organic. And if we do that, otherwise we were, you know that agriculture is the biggest, one of the biggest contributor of greenhouse gases, and it contributes to global warming and climate change. So we have to go organic, increase our crop cover so that we save moisture also, and also capture maximum carbon. So I think this is all I wanted to discuss, and I want questions from all of you. If I have missed anything, please let me know. Over to Nabanshuji and others. Yeah, I wanted to add two more things which I missed. One is this time, general trend I have seen is that the agro advisory in India also, sometimes what they tend to, give it, they are not weather-based agro advisories, they are simple advisories. So it should be weather-based advisory, one. Second thing, it should not be two, three pages, because farmer is not going to understand that. You have to tell him what farmer needs, whether it is going to rain or no rain. That is the first thing he wants. Yes, if it's going to rain, is it going to light rain or moderate rain or heavy rain? So make it as simple as possible and as short as possible. It should be very succinct. That is one. Second thing, see, we have been able to tackle our climate variability. And I am sure with the challenge of this climate change, which is an extra added pressure on already existing climate variability, because we are able to tackle it, we will be tackling this as well. But yes, we need to have a policy for that. We need to have a good weather forecasting system and equally good agrometeorologists. And especially, I'm telling you, if you are a agrometeorologist and you also have a weather forecasting experience, then it is the best combination, which I had. So I knew when I'm issuing the weather forecast, I know what is going on in the mind of a farmer. I know what kind of crop he is cultivating, what stage it is, what is the critical stage. So I know, yeah, farmer needs it is at 20 to 25 days. Farmer is thinking whether I should apply irrigation or not, and I am a forecaster. I know that. So that helps. But most of the time, what happens if weather forecaster has no idea about a crop or what is happening in the field? So he is not able to then give the real tailor-made forecast. So this tailor-made forecast is possible when a forecaster has a good understanding of agriculture as well. Yeah, I would love to have more questions. Yeah, not responding. But first ask them, I hope my speed was okay. They could understand.
Thank you, sir. At first, I want to thank to Dr. Anand Sharma, sir. Your presentation was excellent and very informative, sir. It was
Thank
very
you.
much engaging. In Bangladesh, from DAE, we are also preparing advisories for the farmers in regular basis and in extreme weather condition after getting the forecast of Bangladesh Meteorological Department and Water Development Board. And we have learned how you have worked with sincerity. In future, it's very inspiring. In future, I also want to move forward like you. And also thanks to Dr. Navangshu sir, I have learned how to prepare agromet advisory from him. So thank you, sir.
He's the best expert.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Uh, Best wishes for you, sir. Sir, in our country, we are getting forecast from Bangladesh Meteorological Department and Bangladesh Water Development Board. Um, Here, the lead time is a factor for us, sir. If we have enough lead time, then we can advise our farmers what to do, and they can implement it. It's a factor for us, sir.
Good. Acha,
So,
Nabanshuji, I think I forgot to mention, but the fog. Fog also is a issue in some of the places where if it is continuously there for a long time, then it can also lead to pest and disease kind of things. And it also reduces photosynthesis. So I don't know how much is fog is a issue in some of the countries. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, lead time, of course. Yeah, yes, true. Yeah, sure, sure. See, as you said, Bangladesh again gets affected by the cyclones. So, and luckily, so much of progress has happened all over the world, including India. You have multiple agencies tracking it. They have excellent models available. And India, again, is the country which is responsible for giving early warning for cyclones in this region. And 5 to 7 days now it's possible because when it is cyclone is about say 700 to 1,000 kilometers away from the coast in the Bay of Bengal, you can start monitoring it there from satellite through satellite when it's just a speck of cloud and it's part of a low pressure area. So it's possible now, and the models are really so good. Observations have increased, and once it is, I mean, there about 300 kilometers from the coast, then the Doppler weather radar, which is a state of art and science weather radar, it takes over, and then your models also get good quality of data through buoys and passing ships, etc. And all this contributes, and we are able to give 5 days at least in advance that this cyclone is going to hit uh, either Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Myanmar or India. And of course, your landfall, you are able to tell just 20 to 24 hours before. So that's the thing. But yes, otherwise, because it covers a huge area, so 4 to 5 days well in advance. But as I told you can save the people. But if there is a crop in the field, you can't do anything. Only thing you can do is that if it is a paddy crop, if it is a special variety, I don't know, Chattopadhyay, you know that variety which survives even the total submergence.
Sir, sir, Bridhan 51, Bridhan 52, these are
This
submerging
may be the
varieties.
latest one, but earlier there is a one traditional variety. I'm forgetting the name. So maybe good if they have incorporated all that. So that is what the people, when they're growing paddy, they should be growing for these kind of varieties only, which even survive submergence. But then sometime what happens, you have a cyclone coming directly to your place, and with the winds of something like 180, 200 kmph, you can't do much. That's a problem. If there's a hail, again, the second problem is hail. One is extreme end where 5 days in advance you can give the warning, and the other extreme is hailstorm, which gives you hardly 15 minutes for the warning, because first we have to detect the system, and thunderstorms form very fast. An entire cycle is completed in 1 hour. So you have to first monitor it, then predict and the direction and the amount, etc. And if it's a radar, you can do that 15 minutes. But in what 15 minutes, what will you do? Yes, in 15 minutes, if you, I mean, it's a high cash value crop, you can maybe cover it with net. Otherwise, you can't do again much. And within seconds, hailstorm destroys the crop. So we have certain issues. So there is a limit to predictability and limit to protection.
Thank you, sir. Our meteorological department is trying, and Department of Agricultural Extension is also trying. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your cooperation.
Great. Thank you. Next, I think there was someone from Sri Lanka who made some comment. I forgot to see that. Anybody from Afghanistan? I know Bangladesh is prone, as well as Bangladesh is also doing. I'm very happy to learn. I met few of their scientists in Delhi, and Bangladesh is sending their students, their lecturers, their weather forecast abroad to USA to undergo best of the trainings. So this is what I request. All the governments, they should send their student researchers and officers abroad to India, to the other best of the centers in USA, France, so that they learn and then they come back and implement. So how we could do it? We got a good training in our Pune division, in Pune IMD training division. We got trainings in USA, France, and with a long experience, we have now the confidence that we can issue accurate, timely, impact-based, actionable weather forecasts and advisories and save lives as well as contribute to economy. Yeah, they can get back to me through email. You can share